I watched one of Jay Check's Patreon videos the other day, and let me see if this is actually recording. Oh, yeah, it is. And then actually, the next morning, by coincidence, basically what he had been talking about happened. So I took a video, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit. So Jay mentioned the treadmill metaphor that he uses in behavioral modification, and it's basically that if you put the dog on the choice point, it is mentally exhausting in the same way that running on a treadmill or staying on a treadmill, right, rather than allowing it to shoot you off in the back, is physically exhausting, or gets more and more physically exhausting the longer you stay on it. I'm probably butchering the treadmill metaphor, but bear with me. So the longer the dog stays on the choice point, the more energy basically they are expanding, the more exhausting things get for them. And if you keep them on the choice point for a very long time, you can't do many reps because the dog is basically going to be exhausted, right? Mentally in this example. And actually, when I was like watching this video where Jay was talking about this, I was like, well, doesn't the choice point usually pass very quickly because the dog makes a decision to either show the desired behavior or the undesired behavior? But then this morning, my dogs and I left the building where we were staying, and there was a sheep tied up outside. There is not usually a sheep tied up outside the apartment building, and so I caught Game by surprise. The dogs and I have been having conversations about how we behave around livestock, and I've been explaining to Game that we cannot eat livestock, especially Game would like to take a bite, right? And the reason that is the case is that in the past I have used chasing animals and running up to livestock, and then recalling her again before she gets close enough to actually bother livestock, right? So on my hikes in the past, I've used that as a reinforcer. I've trained, for example, and then there's, I don't know, let's say there's a cow or a horse, so I'm asking and working on something, and as a reinforcer, I allow Game to do what she really wants to do in this environment, which is difficult for her, and she wants to like go for the animal. So in the past, I have a marker cue that means you're allowed to access like chasing as a reinforcer, and in the case of, if it's a squirrel, I just let her chase it up a tree, right? But if it's a horse, for example, I'll work at a distance where the horse is not bothered by my presence, and then I will send Game and let her run closer, still at a distance. So like I let her run, let's say I live in metric land, right? So you'll have to, I think, multiply it by 3 or something to turn it into feet or inches or something US. But anyways, in metrics. So let's say I am working at, like for example in Guatemala, the horses are used to dogs, right? Usually free roaming dogs are everywhere, horses are used to them, they're not bothered by them, the dogs don't do anything to them. And many people have horses and dogs, so it's not usually, the horses don't worry about the dogs. So I might work at 20 meters from a horse on my healing, and then I might send my dog, Game in this example, to basically run at the horse, but once she gets up to 10 meters from the horse, I will recall her, and at 10 meters, the horse really does not care. If the horse cared, I would not do that, right? Let me be very clear here. Of course, livestock should be able to exist in peace just like any other creature on this planet. So this is about horses in this part of the world specifically. I wouldn't do it otherwise. I've also allowed Game to charge my sheep in a round pen and then send her around. I can't work Game with sheep without a barrier because Game is not hurting, Game is hunting. But the nice, okay, my border collie still my shoe. Gimme. No, you don't remember? Haven't we done that in a while? Well, I got sidetracked. Gimme. Thank you. Muy bien. Well, actually, that means put it in my hand. You didn't really do that, but you did it. You made a good effort. Good girl. Good girl. So, where was I? Right, horses. And, sheep and run pen. So, while I used to, in Guatemala, have my own sheep and a border collie, and I work sheep with my border collie, Game is not a... Yeah, Game wants to kill. She doesn't want herd. So what I did though is I sometimes, when sheep were in the round pen, and the sheep were used to being herded, so they didn't realize that this dog wants to kill us and this other dog wants to hurt us. I let her run around the round pen as a reinforcer. And then one time, Game killed one of my sheep. It was a freak accident. There were multiple unexpected failures that had to happen for her to be able to kill a sheep. But anyway, so she has had the experience of killing a sheep, and she hasn't had that experience, for example, with cattle or horses. She has actually been kicked by a horse once, so there she is more careful, but sheep are clearly in a different category for her. So she has experienced, like she enjoys the chase, right, and the running up to. So recalling her away from livestock when she's running up to livestock is not for Game, for this dog, that I think this is different for every dog. But for my dog, my Malinois, it is not it's not frustrating to her that she doesn't get to then take the bite, because that's my theory anyways. I will often send her multiple times, and I do think that she really enjoys that anticipation of running towards. And she has learned that when I recall her, that a lot of the time it means I will send her again. So we can do this, like she gets into this loop where I recall her and then I send her again and I recall her and I send her again, because I can't actually let her bite a horse, for example. Anyways, so we have perfected this. It works around all kinds of animals. She's like really, really good at this and enjoys it. And we have built 8 years of her life getting permission to run towards a prey animal as a reinforcer. And the reason that I've been doing this and was able to do this without problems, and that was all we needed, was that we lived in environments where we would meet these animals, but only in my presence. So I could give her a lot of freedom and control her around them, because I was always also there. And it, like one effect that this will have sometimes, let me just see what my dog had to do back there. Oh, it's just, here we go. So one effect that giving your dog a lot of freedom, no wait, I'm tired, losing my train of thought, sorry everyone. Oh yeah, I know, that's the tooth of the cow that we found. We found a tooth of a cow the other day. Anyways. And like the rest of the cow too, like the skeleton of a cow. But I just took the tooth, because it's a fun thing, like a fun little memory. I don't know. Game took the leg of the cow almost all the way home, but then she, like, the leg, as in the bones, like, that were still, like, from the shoulder to the hoof, and which is the bones, but like still connected. Anyways. Okay, losing my train of thought again. Where was I gonna go with this? Oh, right. So some dogs will learn that seeing in this case, a prey animal is, our game has learned this, and Phoebe, my standard poodle, learned the same thing. Grit has learned this too. So if you do it right, and you have the right kind of dog for it, they may learn that when they see a prey animal, they can check in with you, because it is most likely that you're gonna ask something of them, and then their reinforcer will be that they get to run towards the prey animal. So that's what game has learned. So what we used to do up until now is see the animal, check in with me. I usually ask for behavior, and a lot of the time I will send her back. Not all the time, sometimes I won't, but when I can and it's safe to do so, I let her. And then I may do a couple of those recall loops. I don't know how loud the chewing and bone is, so I'm gonna take it away. Sorry, what? Let's go. Here you go. Okay, I'm sorry, this is gonna be so long, I'm gonna speed it up. Yes, so that's where we are. The current baseline is, yeah, and then we've worked over the last, the week before last week. Last week, I think we were already good all the time, passing prey animals, but I wanna work up to livestock, as in prey animals. This is like specifically livestock. So I wanna work up to a point where a game can be around livestock, even in my absence, and will not expect that she will get to chase, because we're gonna change where we live, etc., and if she is able to not go for livestock, I will be able to give her more freedom in her day-to-day life, and that is usually my goal. So we've had that conversation about several different animals in different ways, and I've posted about it. So this morning I'm opening the door and there's this sheep. So this is the most difficult conversation game that I've had, or we didn't even have conversation. So it was more difficult than other animals. There's a calf, like a little cow tied up outside the apartment sometimes, and we've dealt with that. That was fine. She's just walking past. But the sheep this morning was a real challenge, and I think the reason that the sheep, gracias, muy bien, mi amor, muy bien. Game brought me another shoe. Chai brought me another shoe. You're such a good girl. You are. Yes, you are. I know you're bored. So you're looking at the table. You want a snack? Yes. No, you're not getting a snack now. You could cry. You just had dinner. Oh, that must have hurt. Oh, she just jumped up and hit her head on the table. Oh my goodness, I'm so distractible. Chai. Since when have I been so distractible? I think every time I've tried. Yes. So, right. So the new plan, right. So we found ourselves in the presence of the sheep unexpectedly, and I thought, so the sheep was a couple meters away from us, like 6-ish meters, and I thought game could handle it. So I did not give her input. She knows that because we've been here for 2.5 weeks-ish, she knows that when we go out in the morning, or any other time we go out, really, because it's a dead-end street, muchas gracias, mi amor. She just brought me another tooth. We have 3 of them, and I guess she stole 2 of them off the counter earlier, and here you go. Yeah, count. Just don't swallow it. And don't hurt your own teeth. where was I again? Yes, sheep, surprise sheep. And I thought Game was going to be able to make the call I wanted her to make, which is go the direction we always go, which is rather than into the dead end street where the sheep is standing, where we have never walked, rather than that direction, go into the other direction to the left, which is where how we start our walks. I really hope you're not. Oh, gracias, thank you. Can you spit it out? Thank you. That's very nice. Now we're playing fetch with a cow. Gimme. Cheese. And I'm never gonna end this introduction. Gimme. If I keep playing with my dog. Oops. Dropped it. Cheese. Gimme. Oops. You dropped it. Muy bien. Cheese. What did I do? Well, yeah, so I expected her to be able to make the right, like the choice that I consider right now. Muy bien. Ya sabes que I need to take you. I need to put you in another room because otherwise I won't be able to finish this video. It really is not the right time to make this video because I'm unable to focus on it. No, I can do it. Okay. Go play with your sister. Oh, then. Okay. So, here we go. So instead, no, the other one. Yes, the other one. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, nice. Go play with each other. So, I am usually able to focus way better. I really am. So, what did I do? Right, I just waited. I did not give her any introduction or guidance, and I wanted her to take a left without being told to do so and without me prompting her by walking that direction first. I just stood still and waited for her. And she observed the sheep. So this morning, when we went out for the first time and saw the sheep the first time, she stared at the sheep, and she was able to occasionally look away when there were other things happening. For example, a kid was riding a bike to the left of her, so she was able to break the focus. So I thought she would be able to break herself away entirely. So I kept her on that choice point basically where she was staring and she couldn't really make the choice to walk away, but she knew not to make the choice to go closer and go the other way and go at the sheep as well. So basically she was stuck on the choice point, and I definitely kept her on that treadmill a very long time, which is not something I usually do or how I'd set it up, but I really believed that she would be able to do it. And then the really interesting thing was that after staring at the sheep really hard for a while, and then occasionally looking away but not being able to walk away, she put herself in a sit. And I think a sit is easier for her to keep herself parked in a position rather than moving towards something I don't want her to move towards. So, because when you're in a sit, you're further away from approaching the thing you're not supposed to be approaching than if you're standing upright. Because if you're in a sit, you have to get up before you can move towards. So you're kind of one step farther removed, but then she kind of got sticky and got stuck in that sit. I know you have a bone as well. So she got stuck in that sit, and then she looked away occasionally, but then she got stuck into staring again, and then she started vibrating, with tension. Her entire body was vibrating with tension. And at that point, I just waited for her to look away again. Then I praised and helped her finish that decision that I actually wanted her to make by walking away with her when she looked away from the sheep, because there was something in the other direction that caught her attention briefly. But anyways, it was so interesting to observe, and I kept her on this choice point way longer than I would usually do. But anyways, then we had a nice long walk, and the dogs run around together, and chased each other, and had fun and play. And then an hour later or so, we approached the building again, and so Game had time to discharge some of that tension that she had built up staring at the sheep. And I thought, well, I'll see how she does now that we're getting back home. And it was a lot easier for her getting back home than moving away from the home, because I think now the sheep was not as a surprise anymore, and also she could see it from a much greater distance. Because it's this dead-end street, and so she saw the sheep from the moment we walked around the corner and approached it, and so she kind of got to prepare herself. I think that's my theory. I don't know, I can't ask her, but she was really able to, she observed the sheep curiously, and then was able to walk towards it and then turn away from it to the entry that we always take into the building, and she did that right away without issues. So that was cool to see. And anyways, because that was super interesting, in the afternoon, when we went for our second long walk of the day, I decided to take a video because the sheep was too big. And so you see Game in this video. So this is the third time we see the sheep. The second time we see the sheep going out of the apartment building. And so this is the first video. So she had a much easier time this time leaving the apartment. She still stood on the choice point. That's a bone. I'm not gonna play with it. She still stood on, or like, yeah, was on the choice point for a longer time than would be ideal, but she was able to make the right choice this time. If I remember correctly, anyways, I have to review my own video. And then, but the other interesting thing is that when we came back, the second time, we even, you have to play on my lap of all places. When we came back from the walk, from the second walk, she had a harder time than leave it than she had the first time in the morning. So walking up the staircase, even though this time I unlocked the door and started walking up myself, which I hadn't done in the morning, that was harder for her than things had been in the morning. So leaving the apartment in the presence of the shoe was easier, and coming back, I know you both went away, but coming back home was harder. And I will give you an update tomorrow as I do another round of training. And now I really have to stop because my dogs are staring at me and I cannot focus. And also this is getting ridiculous enough. I'll see you later. Game is on the choice point when it comes to this sheep. Yeah, let her. Hola, niña. Hi, girl. I'm gonna let her stay on this choice point until she chooses to walk away. She knows we always go to the left here, not to the right where the sheep is. Nice job. Okay, I praised her for intent to sniff rather than, hi there. This is La Niña, resident dog. Pap, pap, pap. Muy bien, mi amor. So with Chai, I'm not going through the same protocol because I might use her for herding. This is very difficult. Yeah. And I like that Game is able to look away, even though she's not able to walk away yet. Yay, you are so good. That was amazing. So good. So good. Nice job, mi amor. Muy bien. Vas con nosotros, niña. The way back home is gonna be easier because the sheep is gonna be less of a surprise. You see it from a much bigger distance. Even this morning, Game had an easier time dismissing the sheep on the way back to the apartment. Up, up, up. That's for Chai. Now wait for Game. Get girly. Gonna open. Oh, are we going for the sheep? Nice decision. You are such a good girl. Oh my goodness. Hi, Game. You're good. Okay, yeah, you can keep watching. That's all right. You got to keep watching. All right. Well, I open the door. I didn't record unlocking the door, but now I'm waiting for Game to choose and join me. She can do it. That's right, mi amor. Yeah, you could praise the eye contact. Still looking, yeah, mi amor. It's of course harder to dismiss the sheep because I am not my back is not towards her and I'm not leaving, so I don't have the magnet effect that I would have if I pop. Muy bien, Chay. Are you coming too? Alright. I can walk backwards upstairs, but that's of course different than facing her. Bravissy. She's looking at me. I mean, it's different. Walking backwards is different than facing away from her. If you face away from a dog and walk away from them, you have a magnet effect if you have a relationship with them. Maybe a little bit unfair to have her on this choice point a second time, but I think she can do it. I believe she can. Just don't want to go further away because obviously I don't want to leave her unsupervised in the presence of the sheep at this point. Up. Actually, ooh. That was some well-timed fireworks, huh? Yeah, they were. The whining is my landlord's husky on the other side of the store. Here. Husky. Alright, so the fireworks happened. I called Chai. The game kind of responded to that recall as well. And then fireworks happened, and the game is a little bit, well, not a little bit, kinda, quite. Game is quite scared of fireworks, so that further strengthened her recall in this situation, or her not going closer to the sheep. Pretty sure that's what she will have associated with, because we have had several discussions about sheep in the past with livestock.